Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here, and welcome back to a new YouTube video on the channel. And today, guys, we're going to be continuing our AFL 2023 three-game match reviews for the 2023 AFL season. And in today's video, we are going to be reviewing the last three games from round 6, which was Gold Coast vs North Melbourne, the ANZAC Day Eve game Melbourne vs Richmond, and the ANZAC Day game Collingwood vs Essendon. Alright, so the first game in this three-game match review is Gold Coast vs North Melbourne, Sunday twilight time slot at Heritage Bank Stadium. Boy, this game felt like it was an awfully long time ago. Gold Coast won by 43, 14, 13, 97 to North Melbourne 7, 12, 54. Gold Coast back on track. Their season needed this after being poor against Fremantle the week prior after holding a decent lead at half-time. This time, they came out and out of the blocks just comfortably smashed North Melbourne. From really half-time, I guess. I mean, at three-quarter time, the game was over. That's the quarter where they got... That's the quarter where they got away. At half-time, it was still well and truly capable for North to make something happen. But, yeah, in that third quarter, it was a 3-goal-to-none quarter. And that is definitely... That's definitely where the game got away and got out of North Melbourne's grasp. And then the last quarter, 4-3 in favour of Gold Coast, despite North trying to make a little early push. They were never going to win. They were just trying to make the scoreboard look a little bit more respectable. But in the end, a 43-point win for Gold Coast is a very good result. 133 fantasy for Weller, 109 McPherson, 102 for Anderson. Goals behind, 5 goals straight for King. He was the king of the game with 5 goals. He was very important for the Gold Coast Suns. 2 goals for Chol and Stevenson as well as Ainsworth. And Humphrey, who's looking very, very, very good. Lukosius, 1 goal, 2. He's got a great kick on him. He's a great player, great emerging player. And I'm sure he'll be great in the years to come. He just hasn't quite hit his full level just yet. And despite showing that he's got great kicking and can kick it from 60, still got to look for those passes sometimes. 1 goal, 2 against Fremantle. I think he kicked 1 goal, 4. So you can just see the little issue there with Lukosius. 28 disposals for Anderson and Weller, 27 for Cunnington, 24 for Ainsworth and McPherson. Marks, 14 for Weller, 10 for McPherson, and Lukosius, 9 for Ellis. Tackles, 12 for Rao, 5 for Power, and 5 for Shields. Hitouts, 33 for Goldie in his 300th game. 21 for Witts, 4 for Casbolt, 2 for Troll, 1 for Comben. Team stats now, where 51-50 inside 50. So it was very even, but Gold Coast, boy, they made more of their chances inside 50. 11-8 centre clearances in favour of Gold Coast. 23-23 stoppage clearances. Way more uncontested possessions for the Gold Coast Suns, 238 to 167. Marks, 135-69, 20-6 marks inside 50. Again, those forwards, King, Chol, getting good looks at the footy when they and then again getting better looks on goal when they can take those marks inside 50. The Gold Coast Suns were in front for the whole game. This was a very important win for their season. To the ANZAC Day Eve game now, Melbourne vs Richmond. Monday night at the MCG, Melbourne 15-6, 96 defeated Richmond 11-12, 78 by 18 points. Richmond looked very good in this game. They did exactly what you need to do to beat Melbourne. Just the last quarter where they slacked off a little bit cost them the game in the end. First quarter, very even for the first part before Richmond kicked 1, 2, 3, 4 goals in a row. 4 of their 5 goals coming into the quarter to lead by 18 points at quarter time. In the second quarter, again, that lead stays roughly the same. A 4-goal-to-3 quarter, though, so the D's do fight back a little bit. Third quarter is where the work is done. It is just a 2-point lead to the Tigers at three-quarter time. Another 4-goal quarter there for the Demons. Only 2 goals that term for the Tigers. So it's 65-67 in that stage, and you know it's game on then in the last quarter. 1, 2, 3 goals at the start of the last quarter for the Demons. Including 2 more where they kicked 5 in a row at one stage, put the game to bed, and then Richmond kicked a goal late. But it was not going to be enough. It was a 1-goal-to-5 last quarter. That's where the Demons absolutely put the game away, and it was not enough for Richmond to get the job done. 138 AFL fantasy for Taranto, 117 for Short, 109 for Viney, 106 for Petrarca, 103 for Oliver, 100 for Hopper. Goals behinds, 4 goals for Revo, including his 400th goal at the MCG. 3 goals for Van Ruin, who's looking to be a great draft pickup. 3 goals for Chandler and Cumberland as well. Disposals, 33 for Taranto, 31 for Oliver, 30 for Viney and Short. Marks, 10 for Lever and Hopper. tackles, 10 for Taranto, 5 for Langdon and Petrarca, 17 hit-outs for Gawn, 14 for Grundy, 11 for Ryan, 7 for Miller, 5 for Bolter. Team stats now, where Richmond 53-61 inside 50s. They did win that battle, but it was where they were going inside 50, which really did catch my eye for the first part of the quarter for Richmond, which I'll go over that in a moment. 35-29 clearances in favour of the Demons, 22-15 stoppage clearances. Not too much more. 103-81 marks, 13-11 marks inside 50 in favour of the Ds, 18-8 contested marks in favour of the Ds as well. Richmond were in front for 2/3 of the game. The Demons led for the other third, but this is a big win for Melbourne. But still, though, to be completely honest, I still feel like Richmond did put up a good enough performance to get through. But it was Richmond's entries, which I want to talk about really quickly before we move on to the next game. And their entries were good inside 50. They were putting it to the 50-metre mark. Let's get the team map up for Richmond here. So they were going here to the 50, let's say this is their 50 and here. They were going to their 50. They weren't kicking it to where Gawn, Lever and May like to rest and take inset marks. They were kicking short on the 50 where the Melbourne defence aren't set up. They were trying to get the ball to ground as well, where their crafty forwards like Morris Rioli and Noah Cumberland can go to work. That's what was helping them kick a score early and lead early on. Melbourne eventually managed to work it out, and Richmond couldn't do it in the end, and that's why the Ds won by 18. But that's what Richmond were doing right early on in the game. Alright, now to the ANZAC Day clash. Collingwood versus Essendon. Collingwood 13-12, 90 defeated. Essendon 11-11, 77 by 13 points. It was a cracking contest. Both sides had their times, and Essendon did have their time for most of this game. It was a very interesting first quarter, but Essendon had all the momentum. 1 goal, 4 for Collingwood. Again, inaccuracy did cost in the first half, really. In the second quarter, 1, 2, 3, 4 Collingwood goals helps them come back. But believe it or not, it's going to be their only 4 goals of the quarter. But due to their inaccuracy, they're still going to hold a 2-point lead at half time. In the third quarter, that's where Essendon take the game and make it their own 6-1 that quarter. And they put away a very good quality opposition side. And you almost think, Essendon, are they the real deal now? Are Essendon the real deal? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals in the last quarter to no Essendon goals helps win the game for Collingwood. They win it by 13 in the end. And, Essendon, they just slacked off late, and Collingwood run, their carry was great. That's what allowed them to win the game. Nick Dacos, ANZAC Day medalist, best on ground, 140 fantasy, 2 goals won, 40 disposals, 6 marks, 2 tackles, with a disposal efficiency of 80. Great work there from Nick Dacos. He definitely was the best on the ground. 126 fantasy for Steele Sidebottom, 108 for his brother Josh Dacos. Goals behind, 3 goals for Langford, 2 for Ginnivan, Wiedemann, Johnson, DeGoey, Nick Dacos, Bo McCreary, 1 goal, 3 for Draper. Didn't have his best day in front of the goals. 40 disposals for Nick Dacos, 30 for Josh Dacos, 30 for Steele Sidebottom, 28 for Jordan DeGoey, marks, 9 for Noble, 8 for Maynard and Wiedemann, tackles 8 for Mitchell and Caldwell, hit-outs 28 for Frampton, 25 for Phillips, 25 for Draper, 1 for Johnson. So Frampton still did very well in the ruck, despite going up against Phillips and Draper the week prior. In this game, despite Phillips and Draper doing well the week prior versus the Ds. The Pies had more of the footy, and believe it or not, 64-45 inside 50s. Most of those coming in later on in the game, where they went repeat inside 50s entries. They won that area by plus 19. 29-50 hit-outs in favour of the Bombers. Despite Frampton still doing okay in the ruck, the Bombers still were still over the top of him. 36-35 clearances, 11-9 centre, 25-26 stoppage. Collingwood won centre clearances. Way more uncontested footy Collingwood had as well. 110-69 marks, 13-7 marks inside 50 in favour of the Pies. The Bombers led for 3 quarters of this game, but in the end it does mean after the siren, that means the most. The team that's leading after the siren, or when the siren goes, is definitely the most important. And Collingwood, that 28-point comeback was absolutely amazing on Anzac Day. Nick Dacos won the Anzac Day medal. Alright, so what a round it's been. Collingwood by 13. Oh, actually, we'll start the start. Western Bulldogs beat the Dockers by 49. Port Adelaide beat West Coast by 40. Brisbane beat the Giants by 21. Geelong smashed the Swans by 93. Adelaide beat Hawthorn by 3. St Kilda beat Carlton by 22. Gold Coast beat North by 43. Melbourne beat Richmond by 18. And Collingwood beat Essendon by 13. Round 7, look ahead. To be completely honest, it doesn't look like it's a very interesting round of footy, but obviously there's probably going to be some absolute crackers in here. Sunday does look very appealing, but Friday night, Saints Port, big game. And I'll be covering all this in my round preview, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And the best way to stay tuned for my round preview is by subscribing to the channel, so make sure to go ahead and do that. Anyway, though, St Kilda Port Friday night, Brisbane, Fremantle, first game on the Saturday, the Sydney Derby between the Swans and the Giants. Saturday twilight, Dogs Hawks at Marvel. Saturday night, Melbourne D's, West Coast Carlton. Sunday, the more interesting games, Essendon versus Geelong. I feel like Essendon do need to prove themselves in this game. So too do Geelong, though. I feel like there's going to be some big consequences in this game. Richmond versus Gold Coast. Both sides need to win desperately as well. And then Crows versus Pies. This is probably going to be one of the games of the round. Alright, so the ladder as well. Every team has a win and every team has a loss. St Kilda and Collingwood sitting on top, both on 20 points. Huge group of 16 here from 3rd down to 7th. Carlton with that draw, keeping them a little bit ahead of the 12s, which there's only 3 of those. There's a fair few 8s, a 6, which is Richmond, and 2 4s down the bottom. Make sure to go ahead and pause if you want to see the full ladder. A little bit slower, because I went through this pretty quick. Anyway, though, what a round of footy it was. Thank you, guys, all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. So then, guys, and then miss another video on the channel. Thank you, guys, all so much. And subscribe, everyone. Flame Footy out.